girl, Shawnee M, and
Timera LaChae.
listen, we are your new neighborhood next door girlfriends, okay? And Tamara, happy Women's History Month.
I know,
It's
right?
National Women's Month. So listen, ladies, congratulations to you for just being you, okay? So welcome to our first episode.
Right.
Oh, girl, for real, listen, we're gonna be talking about everything that girlfriends talk about, whether it is relationships, personal development, self care, you name it, we talking about it. Okay, okay. Listen, so just starting off, Tamara, I know one of the things that we were big on talking about, and we've been talking about lately, especially coming off of, February and Valentine's Day and our relationships, right? I mean, in relationships of all kinds, whether you have your girlfriend's relationships, your personal relationships,
Right.
family relationships, that entire dynamic, right? So let's kind of talk about that a little bit when it comes to being in relationships in 2025.
Right.
Right?
I definitely agree. First, let's shout out Sylvia. So Sylvia is the third girlfriend. She's
Yes.
not able to make it today, but she will be on the next one.
Absolutely.
Um,
She's our it girl, y'all.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to become an it girl in 2025, make sure you meet our girl Sylvia. We love you, Sylvie. Yes.
But relationships in 2025.
Yes.
I think that's a very interesting topic. We talk about it a lot.
We do.
We do.
We do.
I think, and I said this last year, and I'm going to continue to say it, God revealed to me that this is the year of the supernatural. This is the year of supernatural marriages. People going to meet people, and they're going to, just build a union and get married suddenly. And I think it's more so of knowing what to keep to yourself and what to express to other people. Because, when we're talking about relationships, I think a lot of times we are taught opposites attract.
Right.
But I believe that you need someone that's similar to you opposed to the opposite, because when you talk about opposites attract, when you're talking friendship, when do you build a friendship
with people that aren't like you or
right.
like-minded, right?
Birds of a feather flock together. So if you're talking about building a relationship, spending some time with someone for a long period of time, there needs to be a lot of common ground and just similarities there. And I think a lot of times we're drawn to the opposite.
Yeah.
But the opposite turns into a headache.
Listen, every time. Because I think, and just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, a lot of people see, for example, yin and yang, right? They see two opposite colors, but what they don't realize is that there's harmony. And instead of seeing it as opposites, it's all about harmony, right? Think about music.
Right.
When you're singing a song, what makes a perfect song? Harmony. Right? So you have to have people that are in alignment with you and where you're going and where your purpose is. And I know before we go too deep, because again, our viewers are just now getting to know who we are, right? So just to kind of give you a little bit of background about Shawnee M. Listen, I am a native DMV girl, so represent my DMV. Hey fam. But listen, I am a full-time entrepreneur like Timera herself. And I've been in the entrepreneur world for about 10 to 15 years. I am newly single, so coming out of a 14-year relationship. So I feel like, when it comes to relationships, you got to know that harmony, right? And so that's kind of a little bit about one thing y'all gonna learn about me. I'm very candid, okay? I'm the girl with no filter.
Right.
So out of the third, I'm the girl with no filter. So listen, you're bound to get anything, but you're gonna get honesty always. But before I run into me, tell people a little bit about you, T.
All right, so I'm Timera LaChae. They do call me T, and I'm an entrepreneur as well. I help entrepreneurs. I'm the coach for the coaches.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm kind of laid back, but I like to have a good time. I love my friends. We have a great time, but we're successful women. We continue to strive to be successful. And not only that, I tend to move in the prophetic, but I'm not boxed in. And I'm okay with that, right? I've left a chapter of my life behind me, and after turning the amazing 36.
Shout out, hold on, y'all. Listen. Told y'all, this month of March is a month of celebrations, okay? So, listen, if you're viewing this for the first time, you're viewing it live, or you're doing it on the recap, I want you to throw some comments, some happy birthday comments to my girl turning the sweet 36 this year.
Yes. anybody, whatever it is that you have a vision for doing, whatever you want to do in life, you need to do it. If you want to be happy, you're the only one that can make you happy. Other people can't make you happy. If you're looking for someone in a relationship to make you happy, you done already missed it. You got to be willing to make yourself happy, and we're gonna talk about that a little later.
Absolutely.
But you want to say to yourself, I gotta choose me in this season so that I can make myself happy.
Listen, y'all heard it here first, okay? Because again, I agree with you when it comes to even any relationship, whether again friendships, parental relationships, romantic relationships. You have to be 100 per 100. People always say, oh, it's that 50-50 love. I don't want 70-30. I don't want 60-40. I don't want 50-50. Bring me 100% of you and I'm going to bring you 100% of me. Right? Because again, I feel like when you're at capacity, you have nothing but growth and elevation. Right? I want y'all to think about a balloon. You fill it up to capacity, guess what? It's going to explode. It's going to explode to something bigger and better. Right? So when you talk about that and just talking about harmony, you have to make sure that you are harmonizing with yourself first. Right? So if you're finding a need for somebody to feel you, it's never going to work. Right? You always have to be able to put your best foot forward every day. And I think that's when it comes to relationships, because a lot of times we gonna get deep when it comes to relationships, right? It's all sweet and sugar, honey, in the beginning. But you have to understand that as time goes on, you evolve. They evolve. Right? And so it's equally as important to always just have that harmony and be in the same flow. And that's not possible if you're not communicating on the same page, right? Or you're always, as they say, opposite.
And I love that you brought up harmony, because even when you're making music, you don't want a person that don't know how to harmonize. You don't want a person that don't know how to sing. I do know, like, especially in the church, they'll say everybody can sing. Me personally, I believe if you're going to show up in the spirit of excellence. If you can't sing, just wave your hands, do a dance. Do a dance. And the thing is, when we're talking harmony, it takes a good ear. So even in relationships, you have to be willing to listen. Because if you're not willing to listen, then you won't learn the person. And I think if a person is selfish, they're not going in saying, let me listen for what that person really needs or desire, so that I can see if I compliment that, or if I can benefit that person to a point where I'm beneficial, I'm resourceful. Not just are they resourceful to me, but am I resourceful to them? Because if we're building something, right? Any friendship is all about building. Our friendship is building. We're not just friends to say we're friends. We're building. What is it that we're building? So we're looking for that harmony in friendship. That's why everybody can't be my friend.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Everybody cannot be my friend. Everybody shouldn't be your friend.
Absolutely.
What do they bring to the table where you're not the only one pouring out?
Absolutely. But you have to know what it is that you need. At the same time. And that's part of becoming whole, right? Having that time, because again, coming from an environment where I was I'm kind of like the spoiled child, you know what I mean? Or I was the spoiled child, where it was just like, I was always in the safe bubble, I always had somebody that I could, and so it took a lot out of me when it came to me moving to a town where I didn't know anybody, starting over completely, right? Because it allowed me time to find myself. And fellas, ladies, listen, finding yourself, it's probably one of the hardest but the most beautiful things that you will ever do in life, right? I still have some journeys to go, so I'll check back with y'all, but in my personal journey, it's really understanding who you are, really understanding what it is that you want. It allows you to open doors for those people to come in. And believe it or not, when you build that relationship with God first, because again, it always starts with Him, right? But then you build that relationship with yourself, you can almost attract what it is that you're looking for. It just comes to you. Right? And so I've always said this season, 2025 is the year we don't chase, we attract.
That's good.
But you have to do the work required, you know? And it comes with anything, whether it's fitness, you got to do the work required. I can go to the gym all day and be like, yeah, I want to be a size 4. But I'm eating cheeseburgers at McDonald's. That's just not going to work.
It's not.
Right? I have to be in alignment with what it is that I'm looking for. And then be on an assignment to do what I'm supposed to do, and then I'll get the results that I want to get, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree, because even how we met, I think, number one, we met right before I closed my store. And so that was alignment. And then to even for you to, I'm the first person that you end up greeting and stuff. And then from there, we built a friendship. But at the same time, on opposites end, when we are working individually on ourselves, we're not knowing who we're going to run into, who we're going to connect to, how we're going to grow, what is our next move. We don't know any of these things. All we know is I'm going to work on me. And as I work on me, I'm going to learn what it is my new person desires. I always say this, one of my favorite scriptures is, old things are passed away, behold, all things become new. And so it's like, when you make up in your mind, this person, I used to be this person, I was this person. I was the wife, I was, the mother, I was the entrepreneur, I was those things. But then when that chapter of my life ended, right, I had to make a decision. I'm going to change everything, not some things, but everything. I got to embrace that this chapter of my life is over, and now it's time for me to become a new person. And some people will say, wait a minute, no, because it's true. That was an old person. That was my old self. Now I'm in a new space, a new environment, new mindset. I'm a different person. So if you're looking for that Timera, right? That is not Timera LaChae. Timera LaChae came after that, right? But it took that to find Timera LaChae.
Absolutely.
And I think when we were building friendships and relationships, when it's time to leave, the path looks different. So in my last season of my life, I was the one pouring out, but no one was pouring into me. But now every relationship I have is back and forth. We're giving, receiving. I'm pouring into you, you're pouring into me. And I think in 2025, if you're going to look for relationships, whether it's intimate, whether it's friendships, girlfriends, homies, you need to look for people or position yourself to attract people that can pour into you. You can pour into them, but they pour into you, because your next level is not dependent on who you pour into. It's dependent on who pours into you. And I think that's important.
I like that because, again, just like you said, stepping into a new level, it's the unknown territory. Right? So how can you pour into something in an unknown environment? You don't even know what it is that you're looking for or looking into. So for our viewers, what would you say that looks like? Like, what would you say is a good starting place for someone that is in position? They're like, I've been working on me, and now I'm ready to, step into this next level, step into this next territory. What's the piece of advice that you give them?
I would say, number one, I believe that you need to write down all the things that all the decisions that you made that you did not necessarily agree with. Where
so
it's
like,
reflect. Yeah, you need to reflect on all the things that you may regret, or all the things that you were disappointed in, and just be honest up front. And then after that, you need to start meditating. I think meditation is very important, because you need to just get to a place of silence, because this is the thing. If you're still in this same mind frame, you're already blocking your next level, because if you wasn't, you would already be there. So there needs to be almost like a cleansing of the mind. And in order to do that, you got to start positioning yourself, get yourself around people that make you uncomfortable, where you're not the smartest in the room, and you kind of feel dumb. Like, I don't even know what that is.
Or a childlike mind, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you should do that. I would always say you need to work out. I believe that the discipline of working out, it does a lot for your confidence, and you get to see your transformation when you look back. Because sometimes when we're gaining weight or overeating, we don't necessarily see it until we start working out and losing weight. And then we look back and we're like, girl, what was you thinking? I look at some of my pictures.
How did we get here?
I look at some of my pictures and I be like, girl, don't you ever do that to yourself again.
Yes. I have that story.
And being coachable, though. Not trying to do it on your own because you don't know how to do it. But positioning yourself for a season to do that, but also be willing to let go of people from your old self, your past.
Can we do that in 2025? Can we get rid of this whole no new friends?
Right.
No new friends.
We need new friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I always heard a long time ago, if you're not moving, if you're not growing, then you're dying.
Oh, that's good.
Right? And so you have to understand that certain relationships come in seasons.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily malice. It doesn't have to be, detrimental. It could just say, you know what, hey, I'm going this direction. You're going this direction.
Right.
I wish you well along your journey. And that was something for me personally, being transparent. That was a big struggle for me for a long time. And I think that's why God put me in a position to relocate in the middle of,
right.
of knowing nothing or nobody, because I consider myself to be a very loyal person. I was that girl, if we're locked in, ain't no switching up, right? But I have to understand there's something healthy about growing and switching up.
Right.
And don't get me wrong when I say no new friends, because some people have childhood friends, people have friends from, decades.
Right.
I love that for y'all. But you have to understand sometimes those positions change, and it's safe for those positions to change.
Right.
Imagine driving a car, right? I'm driving a car, you're in my passenger seat, right? It might be a season where you need to get behind this wheel, and I need to get in that passenger seat, or I need to get in the back seat and take a nap, So it doesn't mean that you're out of my life or you're exiting out of my life. It's just the direction I'm going. I can't have you in my right ear right now, because who has your ear has your destiny.
That's good.
And if you're looking to go past, what you normally are used to, how are you supposed to do that without a different sound in your ear?
Right, and I think a lot of times people hold on to people, places, and things too long. Absolutely. But they don't realize what you're asking God for, what you're writing down, is not in alignment with it. Mm-hmm. So the minute we start asking for more, we're asking for
your consequences, right?
That
you're asking for, right?
We're asking for the change.
Yeah.
We're asking for the new. We're asking for that. And I think sometimes we let too many people validate our next move. And it's like, okay, this is what you want to do, but all of your friends in your circle, they're content. Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to hold on to those friendships, but what you're asking God for, what you're asking yourself for, is not there. And all you got to do is release. But it's hard to do that because you have built a relationship, you have built a bond. And I think in that moment, you got to focus on what is it that you really want, because you're going to look up and it's going to be 5 years from now. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be messed up again because it's 5 years from now. And I still ain't did it. Why is it that I haven't done it? And I think we have to get to a point in our life where we say, when I choose me, this is the decision that I really chose. I chose to say no more. I chose to let go even if it hurts. And I chose something that I've never seen.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so she's making a choice to let go.
Let go. Yeah.
Choosing to, what was the other? I know let me see. Yeah,
you're choosing to let go, right? Mm-hmm. You're choosing to say no.
Say no, right? Yeah. No is a full sentence, by the way, y'all. No doesn't always need an explanation.
Right. so you're choosing to say no more, mm-hmm. and then you're also choosing to go to a place you've never seen.
I love that.
So because you're making that decision, mm-hmm. you'll meet people like Shawnee, right?
Yeah.
And you'll build a friendship, and you won't think about it like, who hurt you in your past, who stabbed you in the back, because now you've made them up in your mind that where you're trying to go, you don't know how to get there.
Yeah, so you need that guidance.
So when the people start coming, it's like,
where you come from?
Right.
But you got what I need.
But you got what I need.
That's true.
And I think you have to be willing to change. Yeah. I always tell people now, if you want change in your life, you got to change. Yeah. Once you change, the change will come into your life. Most people, they're like, oh, I just need this to change. Why can't that person change? Why not change the person?
That's a word. Why not change the person?
Why not change the person? Because so many times we're holding on to people that they will never change because they don't want to change. So why not just change who that person is? Replace that person with someone else.
Absolutely.
That's already changed.
Yeah.
it'll release the headaches, it'll release all that. And I think when we're talking relationship, and I know y'all probably want to go on the intimate side too, that is vital. And I think now I'm at a place now, my tolerance level is extremely, no, I think after you've been married, your viewpoint changes on a lot of stuff. Because you know, you're taught, you know, you commit, you're loyal, especially if you're committed and you're loyal and you're patient and all these things. But then once you choose yourself, and I think a lot of times I've seen it on different podcasts, people say, no, that's not how it's supposed to be, but this is me. If both parties are not demonstrating or giving that same type of energy, it's not even a union.
You're right.
It's not a union. You're in a union by yourself. And you don't realize it until years later when you decided to choose you. I think that's when your eyes become open to what it is, because we can become comfortable in relationships. And that's why I tell people any day, I would never tell a person that they're stupid or dumb for staying in something, because the truth of the matter is we get comfortable, or one of the things my mom always says is we are humans. So you can put us in any environment and we'll adapt.
For sure.
So you can be in a bad relationship and you'll adapt to it, because in your mind, it may be the children, or you are invested, all these different kind of things.
Make an excuse.
Exactly. And so because, you know, being married before, my tolerance level is like, no, I'm picking me.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not picking me from a selfish standpoint. I'm picking me from a standpoint, if I can make you happy, you can make me happy.
Yes, 100%. And let me say this. There is nothing wrong with being unselfishly selfish.
That's good.
And what I mean by that is, again, you have to create within yourself the person that you're looking for, right? If let's talk about it, because a lot of women are at this age or in this decade in this lifestyle. I want a soft girl life.
Yeah.
Right. I want a soft life. I'm tired of being that independent woman. I want to be, you know, a soft girl. Are you reflecting that in your life before that man comes in the picture?
That's good. That's good.
Because if not, honey, you still have some work to do. Because again, for two reasons. Number one, you can't set an expectation. It's kind of like, you know, being a parent. I can't tell you to don't steal that, right? Or don't do this, or don't be rude to this person, but you're watching me do it.
That's good.
So again, we have to apply those principles when it comes to our relationships. Am I treating myself to self-care once a month or twice a month? Because that's what I'm looking for. Have I sat down at a nice fancy dinner by myself and enjoyed and paid the bill for myself, right? If you're not doing those things, how do you have the expectation that someone else is going to do it for you? Because you don't even know what that looks like.
Right. That goes back to say, I always say, and this is what I say, I believe that every woman is not a wife. Okay?
Ooh, you about to sound so tall, Steve.
I believe every woman is not a wife. I believe every man is not a husband. Now, I believe that you don't become a wife once you say I do. I believe that you're either a wife or you're not. So we hear this and we see this on social media where they'll say, don't be acting like a wife when he hasn't proposed. But in my mind, you're either that person or you're not. We don't have time. You either clean or you're not. So if you're in a position to wash the dishes, you ain't washing the dishes because you're trying to show him that you're a wife. You're washing the dishes because you're a clean person and those dishes need to be clean. So I think a lot of times social media has gotten to a point where a lot of women are like, no, I'm not going to show up like that. Well, if you don't show up like that, you ain't that.
Right.
Because
again, what is he to look forward to?
Right.
You know, because again, we don't just wake up and switch up.
Exactly. And I think a lot of, imagine going on a date and the guy is like, oh, you pay for yours, I pay for mine. Because that's what you're doing. Yeah. When you don't show up as your authentic self, it's like, well, they told me I don't need to act like a wife. Yeah. No, it ain't. No, you either a wife or you're not. Right. Like, it ain't no, you don't turn it on, turn it off. You're either a wife. I always tell you, I'm a wife if I'm married or not. So that means I come with favor regardless. And it ain't just with the person I'm married. It's with anybody that I'm connected to because I'm a wife. It said, whosoever findeth a wife obtain a favor. That's what it says. It said, whosoever. And I think people misread that scripture, but it does say, whosoever findeth a wife. And so I believe that when I get in my circle, favor is there. So if all of us are wives, man, the favor is quadruple, it's triple. And I think we have to understand what that really means. And a lot of people don't know what that really means. And so they're like, no, I'm gonna be this way until, well, if you're not a wife, then ain't nobody gonna want to marry you. And then another thing is, I feel like don't let marriage really be at the forefront. I know we're taught that, right? Mm-hmm. We're taught that, but I think friendship should be at the forefront.
I agree with that because again, you're not always, you know, like you said, you're either a wife or you're not, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to be in a different position.
That's good.
Right? Especially, you know, just coming from a background of being a wife. Sometimes what people believe a wife is, you are a partner, you are an advisor, you are a counselor, you are a listening ear, you are a nurse, you are a helpmate. There's so many titles that come under wife, and sometimes you gotta switch hats sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? I can't always approach you with, oh, I've had a hard day. No, sometimes I have to be your friend and say, you know what? I see you.
Yeah.
I can see that you had a hard day. Let me put my stuff to the side,
right,
real quick to figure out how we can get back on harmony, right? Because again, it's no different than you as my friend. Yep. I could be having a rough day, but if my friend calls me, just like your homegirl's calling, she could have the worst day. Something could happen. You're gonna stop everything you're doing and let her vent.
Yep.
Or you're gonna run to her rescue.
Exactly.
You have to do the same thing in relationships.
It's the same. I was on a podcast one time and a young man got into a debate with me. Mm-hmm. And he said, what is the difference in being married and everybody else? Mm-hmm. And I said, there's really only one difference. You be fruitful and multiply. Mm-hmm. I said, other than that, there ain't no difference. Like, other than the intimate part, mm-hmm. why is there a switch up?
Right.
Like, who you are is who you are. And I think a lot of times people try to be someone that they're not. Mm-hmm. And you attract someone and then you're like, what is this?
Right, I don't like this person, right?
What is going on? I think you have to be okay, confident in who you are. And whoever is for you, they will embrace it and you will have the ability to grow. Yeah. But I also believe when we're talking about intimate relationships, I believe that whoever your person is will bring out, if you're a man and you meet a woman, that woman is going to bring the alpha out of you. If you are a woman and you meet a man, he's going to bring out your femininity naturally. Because a lot of, we do as women, we have a lot of us that are entrepreneurs now, we're working, we're getting to the bag, we're doing all of that. And so it can intimidate a lot of men because they're like, oh, that's an alpha woman. Like my brother said all the time, you're an alpha woman. I am an alpha woman, but in a relationship, I'm not. I'm in my femininity. It's almost like I'm two different people. Now, if I'm not in my femininity in a relationship, that man is not playing his role.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Because again, we are equipped, right? We're born. It's in our genetics.
Right.
God created us that way. That's in a sense why Adam came first, you know? Yeah. And then he said, this is not complete. Let me now, you know, and then Eve steps into the picture. And so it's one of those understandings of you have to almost complement one another.
Yes.
In their natural form.
Right.
Because again, men for the most part, now I'm not talking about traumatized men and carrying, you know, different skeletons and unhealed men.
Right.
But men that are healed, men that are complete, they urge to care.
Right.
They urge to provide. That is what they yearn to do. They want to lead.
Yeah.
And that's why many times you get an alpha female in a relationship and then the man's frustrated because, oh, she won't let me be a man. There's something behind that.
Right.
But it also works both ways because what is missing that's allowing her to feel like she still has to be in that trauma response or that independent alpha female.
Right. That's good. You know, I think a lot of times, you know, I say this, when you have not been healed from trauma, you can't see the blessing in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're blindfolded by trauma.
You really are. And as women, I think a lot of us are taught that we are to pamper it, we are to take care of it, take care of the wound, and try to fix it. After being married, I can honestly say that's not my job.
No.
That my job is not to fix a man. My job is not to help a man even heal from trauma.
Yeah.
My job is to be postured and positioned to help build, multiply, all those things. The healing of trauma is a decision that only one person can make, and that's the person that's going through it.
For sure.
And I believe that the best way to do it is from someone that's not in your space.
Yes.
Because you don't even know how to receive from that person because
Right.
it's so close to home.
For sure. For sure. And and I'm a big advocate for therapy.
Yeah.
It's listen, you need Jesus and therapy. I don't care what you say. And a lot of times people are intimidated, especially in our community.
Yeah.
I feel like in the Black community, that means something's wrong with you.
Right.
It's okay to say I'm not okay. It's
Right.
okay to say, hey, there is something wrong with me because what I see is not what I saw in my vision for myself.
Right.
And being able to address that, it allows you to move forward.
I agree.
Because again, and I'm on this gym journey right now, y'all. So this is why you're gonna get a lot of analogies. It's like me going to the gym. I can say I hate how my clothes fit.
Right.
But if I don't step foot in that gym, if I don't get that training experience, right? If I don't take those steps to understand my nutrition, my habits, I'm just complaining at that point.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when it comes to unhealed situations and traumatic experiences. You can't leave one situation and not fix those things that were broken within thyself.
You can't. And I also think that we listen to so many advice of people, and don't get me wrong, advice is good, but make sure it's wisdom. Make sure it's wise advice. So I've heard some people say, once you come out of a marriage or a long-term relationship, you shouldn't date, you shouldn't do anything for like 2 years. I believe, number one, everybody heals differently. Yeah. Like for me, I came out of marriage healed. So I didn't come out.
Your healing in
exactly.
The transition.
So exactly. So I didn't come out traumatized or anything like that. Yeah. I came out fully healed. So it's like, and some people might be like, how? Well, it's more of, I believe it has something to do with childhood. So for me, I talk about it all the time. The age of 1 to 7 is vital as parents. And so for me, between the ages of 1 and 7, my mother and my dad were so motivational, inspirational. They listened to, the Les Browns, the A.L. Williams, and all that kind of stuff. Right. And so I have that in me. So even though I'm in my situation, I can still see the positive because growing up, that's what I was exposed to. Yeah. So I'm truly, I believe this from observation, just other people that have gone through situations similar to mine that are still traumatized, that are still in the process of healing, that if the little girl or little boy and you have not been healed, that is the problem. It's not the adult part of you that got hurt. Yes. It's the little boy and little girl in you that has not been healed. And so now you're in a traumatic situation and that little girl or little boy is being affected again.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that plays a huge part in it. Because a lot of times it's hard for people to forgive. It's hard for people to let go of these things. But I'm going to be real. You got to love yourself. Because even in that, I would have people that were married tell me things like, well, you can get over that. And this is what I did in my marriage. I got my lick back. Or I would have people, say, yeah. I know, right? I would have people say stuff like, you can get over that, or you can just, you can pretty much do the same thing. And I want to say a lot of marriages are doing a tick for tack. I hope they're not. Right. But I think it has something to do with loving yourself. So I love me. Yeah. So I'm not going to do tick for tack. I don't want that, but I will get out.
Right. I think, and contrary to belief, I think a big part of successful marriages is that you first choose you, then you choose each other.
There we go.
Because again, in a marriage for me, a successful marriage is I want to wake up to you every day with a desire to show up to be my best self for you. Yeah. And that may look like, hey, I'm going to keep my looks together. I'm going to make sure, my cooking is the best on the block.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure I step and secure the bag. Why? Because that's 100% of me. What I choose to do for me, because I would do the same thing if it was just me.
Yeah, that's it.
So if I can do the same things when it's just me, oh, it's gonna do nothing but enhance and blossom this relationship.
That's it.
You know. So and I totally agree with you. Fun fact about Shawnee M. My actual educational background is in early childhood education.
Wow.
And it is scientifically structured that your molecular cells absorb the most between 0 to 5 years old. All your core foundation is formulated between 0 to 5 years old. So if you dealt with abandonment, you dealt with being ignored, if you came from a family of, oh, let them cry it out, that's building a foundation of this is how I get responses. Everything else from the rest of your life, y'all feel free to look it up too, is just fine tuning.
Yep.
It's like taking the shape of wood, right? You have a block of wood, that's 0 to 5. You can carve it out, and then after that, you're just molding it, you're sanding it. So now every experience, you're going to start with that same response.
Yep.
If you were that child that, cried, and somebody picked you up, you now feel open and confident to go to somebody when you're crying, because that foundation of somebody's going to hear me and respond to me is going to continue to grow. Now, that child that was left in the corner to just cry, 9 times out of 10, they're going to find a way to self-soothe.
Girl, you just helped me with my boy Christian. My son, yes, girl. He, sometimes I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. It's like he's forcing you to spoil him. I'm like, no, we're not gonna spoil you. Okay, you're not going to be spoiled. Okay.
He's so cute. I don't know. TT Sean, I don't know. I'm gonna let her finish, but that ain't our story. That ain't me and Christian's story. No.
And I think Christian knows that though.
Yeah.
I think he knows that people love him, and so he positions himself even at 3 years old to say, "Yeah, I'm gonna get what I want." And it's crazy, right? But I also think that even how he has that perception or he has that demeanor, we gotta have that. Even in relationships, you gotta know what you want.
Absolutely.
Like at the end of the day, you gotta know what you want. It's not about having a perfect relationship. It's about having an imperfect relationship that seems perfect.
Oh yeah, and it's perfect to you.
Yeah, that's it. So you're gonna have your ups and downs, and I've heard people say arguing is healthy. I disagree, and I'm gonna tell you why. If I'm friends with people and we arguing, we going our separate ways. We even do all that.
Right.
We're grown. We're grown. We're not gonna argue back and forth.
Right.
If we can't have a mature disagreement conversation, eventually that friendship is gonna separate.
For sure.
Because it doesn't make sense. We're not children.
Right.
And so I believe that in relationships, if you are arguing back and forth, you're not arguing with the adult version of one another. You are arguing with the child version, because that is childish. If we're gonna be honest, if you don't know how to tame yourself to have okay, we're gonna talk about this. But if you're lashing, calling each other out each other's name, y'all kids, and that's a hard pill to swallow. But that's the truth. Because adults, we need a level of maturity to say, okay, we're going to have a conversation. I'm not in agreement. We're going to agree to disagree type of things. But I also feel like there's so much immaturity when it comes to adults. Because people got a problem when somebody is not in agreement.
And that's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to agree to disagree. I say, look, not every color is gray. Not every color is black. Not every color is white. Like, there's pink. There's purple.
But I also
think about,
But I feel like it's taught. And I feel like it's taught in the church. That's just me. I feel like we're taught we're right and everybody else is wrong.
Right. Now, do you think that's what keeps people away from church?
Of course.
Because I feel like we've definitely emerged in a world where a lot more people are spiritual.
Yeah.
Right? I've heard it time and time again. Now, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, they're like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Right.
And quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with that, because, hey, to each his own. Some people like SpaghettiOs, some people like filet mignon, whatever. Whatever your cup of tea is, make sure it's in alignment with you. But then that allows me to have the choice to see if I'm in alignment with you.
Right.
Well,
I think because I wasn't brought up in church, I think I got to see like both ends. And me personally, I've always been spiritual. And going into the church, not only going into the church, becoming a minister of the gospel, all those things, I got to see what it is, right? And I believe, I'm a person, I receive all people, you know? I believe 100%. God receives all people.
He created us,
right?
So
exactly.
Makes sense.
So for me, if a person tells me they're spiritual and this is what they believe, I'm cool with that. This is when I have a problem. When you try to tell me that what I believe is wrong. I have a problem with that because not once did I tell you. Now, in the church, you're taught like a shark. You're wrong. I'm gonna shut you down, tear you into pieces. To me, that does more harm.
Absolutely.
Listen to them.
Absolutely.
Because when you really listen to people, you'll realize that a lot of people are saying the same thing using different words.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that because for a while I stepped away from the church. And you know, I growing up, I was, you know, in different, I don't even know what you call it, sectors of religion. You know, Catholic for some time, and then it was Baptist, and then it's like you go through and you see different emotions, and you're like, this don't feel right. You know,
this don't feel.
This right. doesn't feel right. And then as I matured and you know really built my relationship with God, because honestly, and we'll talk about this later on, y'all, but I feel like God almost had a Daniel moment with me. He said, or you know, a Joshua moment with me. He said, "Look, I'm gonna put you by yourself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you in a dark where you feel like you can't turn to nobody but me.
That's
right. But it allowed me to establish that relationship with Him, where I said, "Oh, you know what? This feels right."
It's personal though.
Yeah,
and I think what happens is, and when you don't say what they don't, when you say something that they don't want you to say, you become everything but a child of God. And so, me being a person that listens to people, I'm like, no, it's personal. Yes. So, it's not my job to judge. And I know a lot of people are not in agreement, but this is me. If God kept you when you were doing what you wanted to do, He kept you, right? So, why wouldn't He keep this person over here? He kept you. And He gave you enough time to get it right. So, why you're not giving them enough time? Because they're not on your time. And so, for me, it's so personal that how He comes and encounters with everybody is totally different. Everybody's going to have that different encounter. Yeah. So, I believe that it's got to a point. I was telling someone this the other day. I said, Christianity is so unstable. And the word says an unstable man will surely fall. So, Christianity is so unstable, and this is why. I said you got some people that are Baptist, but they're Christian. Some people non-denomination, they're Christian. Some people Pentecostal, they're Christian. Some Kojic, they're Christian. All these different denominations believe different things, but they all classify as Christian. That's unstable because there's not a stable like platform. There's not a stable. So why aren't y'all all classified as Christians, but there are certain things y'all don't believe that others believe. That is instability. And the word says an unstable man will surely fall. Well, we are the church, which is classified as man, and then we're identifying this as a church. Therefore, an unstable church will surely fall. And so I think we got to get to a point where we're looking in the mirror, only looking in the mirror. What is it that I need to do to make me better? And
check your foundation.
That's it. Shawnee, I said to someone, you need to focus on you. They said, no, you need to focus on God. You can't focus on God until you focus on yourself. If you don't know God, how you going to get to Him? Your only way to get to Him is through yourself. The Holy Spirit lives within. So therefore, in order to get to God, you have to start working on you.
You work on you, right? You know what? Look, this is what we're going to do this season. This is the year of me versus me, okay? You're not in competition with that girl over there. You're not in competition with that man over there. You're not in competition with your coworker. You're not in competition with your baby daddy's baby mama. It's you versus you, okay? Listen, we're gonna dedicate it. It's a me versus me. Yeah. From this day forward, when you tap into Girl For Real, just know your biggest competition is who you were yesterday. Okay, y'all got it?
That's it. I love that.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, we're excited, y'all. So make sure you share this, right? Tag 4 of your amazing girlfriends. Yes. Make sure you tag them. And I hope y'all stay tuned because we're coming. We're not just coming to have conversation, but we're coming so you can take something away and you're able to do something that can benefit your life because it's time for you to choose you. It's time for you to love you. It's time for you to embrace you. And it's time for you to live just for you. So you all, until next time.
Before we forget,
go ahead.
We have to. Okay, so our Women's Month spotlight goes to Renewed Beauty and Health. This amazing. We're actually sitting in this amazing spa right now, and Nicole, she is the owner. She's gonna kill me because I cannot remember. I'm bad with quotes, y'all. Well, listen, she is the one-stop shop for everything beauty and wellness. I got it right.
Yeah, you did.
You see how God came through? You release and let God do the rest, right? So, with that being said, she is down. We're going to go ahead and put her info.
Yeah. House and Lake Road, Warner Robins, Georgia, Renewed Beauty and Spa. You want to come if you got get your nails done, your hair done,
everything,
massage, whatever it is. You want to get it done here. Amazing service, beautiful facility, beautiful atmosphere. So you definitely want to plug in, okay?
Yes.
Plug in.
Yes. Well, listen, we had a good girl chat today,
yeah,
right? Okay. Yeah. So listen, next time, don't come by yourself. Bring a friend, and don't meet us here. Beat us here, right? So till next time.
Yeah, I'm Timera LaChae,
and I'm Shawnee M, and we love you from the couch.
Yes. And this is Girl for Real.